The Performance Metrics Report is one of the two tools that you'll use to measure your progress towards meeting meaningful use in 2014. The Performance Metrics Report can be run from any workstation on your network. The first thing that you need to do is to put a shortcut on your desktop in order to use the report. If you look at my desktop, I have one here already called pmsi.reports performancemetrics.exe. But if you don't have that, let's go through the process of adding it to your workstation. So the first thing you do is come down to the Start button in the lower left-hand corner, put your pointer on top of it, and right-click it with the right mouse button. Another menu opens up. Left-click, Open Windows Explorer. When Windows Explorer opens up, you want to come up to your C drive and click the plus sign to the left of it. Depending on your machine, it's either going to say Program Files or Program Files x86. If your machine says Program Files x86, that's where you want to go. Otherwise, go to the Program Files folder. Click the plus sign and look for the folder that says McKesson. Just McKesson, nothing else. Click that plus sign. And then right below it, you'll notice you have a folder labeled Practice Partner. Now, no matter whether you're using Practice Partner or Medisoft or Litec, it's still going to say Practice Partner. So go ahead now and left-click Practice Partner. And on the right side, all of the files in that folder open up. So we want to scroll down on the right side now, and we want to look for a folder, we want to look for a file here called pmsi.reports.performancemetrics.exe, and we want to make sure it ends in .exe. Now you could double click it and run it here, but what I would suggest is that you again right click it. When the submenu opens up, left click Send To, and then left click Desktop Create Shortcut, and that will put that shortcut out on your desktop. So let's minimize this. And now you'll notice I've got the one I had here a minute ago, and now there's another one over here on the left that says PMSI Report Shortcut 2. I can double click either one of these. And when this window opens up, we want to put in the same username and password that you log into your application with, your EHR. And when you do, the Performance Metrics Report will open up. So the first thing we want to do at the top is we want to hit the drop down next to Specific Provider and choose the provider for whom we want to run the report. Then we want to choose our report date range. For most of you, it's going to be October the 1st. So we'll choose October the 1st on the From side. And on the To side, we'll just leave today's date filled in. Depending on which stage you're in, you'll choose either stage 1 or stage 2. Stage 1 is the default. I'm going to leave that. Down below, we have all of the core and menu objectives that actually require a metric. You'll notice that some are missing here, and the reason that those are not here is that these are the ones that require actual numbers. So there are several objectives, both core and menu, that do not require a number. They just require a yes/no. Those are not on this report. What I like to do here, even though I may or may not need all of these, is just hit Check All, and that'll check them all. Now, if you don't want some of these, you can come up and uncheck the ones you don't want. Then come down and click Run Report. Just click it once. Don't click it twice. If you click it more than once, there's a chance that you may crash it. Okay, then the report comes up, and you'll notice it's a little bit different this year. You'll have the logo of the EHR that you're using, the stage that you're reporting on, the date that you ran it, and your reporting range, and then the provider's name here. Down below, you'll see both the core and the menu objectives. Now, a little different this year from prior years. We have the actual objective number next to the objective. And you also notice in some cases there is more than one objective, or more than one option for the same objective. So here we see two core ones. This is the more traditional one, or the one that we had last year. And then there's an alternative. You don't need to report both, and you can report either, but you would report the one that you have numbers for. You also notice that next to each objective, they have the threshold, or the minimum that you need in order to successfully attest for that. One caveat here If you are attesting for stage 2 meaningful use, it must be above the threshold. In other words, in this example of CPOE, if we only had 30% in our metric, that would not qualify. We would need more than 30%. But in stage 1, the threshold is just that, so you could be at a minimum of 30. On the right-hand side, you'll see your metrics. So you'll have the numerator and the denominator. Now, in my system, it's a demo system. I only have 2 patients. That's why you see very low numbers. Yours should be and will be much higher than that. But you'll see your numerator and your denominator and then your metric or your threshold. So I'm at 50%. The threshold's 30. So here I'm doing a pretty good job. I don't need to worry too much about this one. And I can scroll through the rest of this and take a look. There is one other big difference this year as opposed to prior years. If you notice, when my mouse pointer hovers over number 1 here, this orange box pops up. And when it does, I can double click it. And when I do, a drill down report for that objective opens up. And you have to do it one at a time. But here is the drill down report for core 1. And these are the patients that make up my numbers. So I've got 2 in the denominator, but I only successfully met the objective for 1. So I see the patient down here for whom I met it, and the one above at the end, meaning no, means I did not meet the objective for this patient. Now, on yours, if you've got many more patients than just 2, you can come up here to the upper left-hand side and click that little printer icon, and that will allow you to print the report out. You can take the report that you've printed and then go back into the application. Not here, you have to go back into the EHR, open up this patient's chart, and see why you did not get meaningful use credit for that patient. But this is a very useful tool to help you troubleshoot why you're not meeting certain objectives. The last thing I'll mention is that when you're done with this drill down report, in the upper right hand corner of the screen, and you can't see it here because it's outside the recording window, but in the upper right hand corner there are 2 X's, a large X and right below it a very small X. Click that small X and that will close this report. And then you can, to close the full report, you can go up to the larger X, click that, and that will close the report. So that's how you run the meaningful use performance metrics report.